All right. Let's talk to Alex Snitker now about a lot of the other races and what came out of the primaries and some big surprises and shocks and things in his mind up and down the state. I know we spent a lot of time more on like some local politics here in the Central Florida area, the Tampa Bay area, and that kind of thing. But he can talk at more of a state level. You know, Alex, when you look back at the primary now, what are some of the other big shocks besides the governor race and things like that?
I think that when it came to the ag race, I don't think it was a surprise, but it was a lot closer amongst 3 of the 4 candidates running in the Republican primary than I thought it was going to be. But you know, the candidate we liked actually was Matt Caldwell, ended up winning that thing. However, it was close. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. And it was a 3-way close too, which is always interesting because you see some counties going for one guy, and some counties going for the woman, and some counties going for the other guy, and see that mix. So that was a good mix there. We really thought Matt and I was going to beat Chad Altman over on the other coast. He had a ton of ground game support. He had a lot of mailers going out. We really thought he was going to win. So we're a little shocked that he didn't win that race, that he ended up losing that race. Other than that, though, a lot of the people in the Republican side, the ones that we would think are probably more pro-liberty, were able to win and eke out a lot of good wins. There was some good wins out there of people like Joe Wicker went against Rhonda Storms, and Joe won it convincingly, and he was able to beat Rhonda Storms, who's a candidate that really, when it comes to ideologically, they call her an uber conservative candidate, but in all reality, she was just a moderate that really was into, that was very, very much actively outwardly pro-life. But other than that, she was completely a moderate, loved the corporate welfare, always dealt with the establishment. And so to see Joe win that race was actually really good. To see Mike Beltran win was actually a good race. That was in Hillsborough as well. And then, in other places around the state, it maybe the one thing about it is some of it was uneventful. While there were some really big shocks, a lot of it ended up going fairly well. And, moving on to the general, which is going to be it's going to be a bloodbath in Florida when it comes to the general election. Everybody's having to defend. Typically what would happen, and I'm sure you know this, typically what would happen is that, most of these seats went unchallenged. And if there was a challenge, it was only like, another Republican going against a Republican. And then when they win, then they just win the whole thing. Or another Democrat going against another Democrat, and then when they win, it's the whole thing. Well, you got more contested races now than we've seen in a long time everywhere, so everybody's going to have to work because lazy candidates are going to lose elections this time. I mean, I don't care what the swing, what the number is of what Trump won the last time. If you don't go out there and do the work as a candidate on either side, you're going to lose. And so nothing's safe right now, and so I think that's we knew this was going to happen, but at the same time, now we're in the 60-day window where everybody's going to have to get to work.
And you pointed out that, obviously the Democrats have more of an uphill climb based on their ground game and trying to make such a big impact. They're trying to hit so many different seats, so many different positions across the state. What are your thoughts on kind of how that plays out? Do we see the national figures like Bernie Sanders making more appearances down here to try to help really rile up folks, get some more cash into everything like that? Or do you think that this is kind of where we're at? We're going to see how it shakes out, and we're going to kind of use Florida as a litmus test.
Well, I do think you're going to have a huge focus from the progressive movement in the state of Florida. And whether it be Barack Obama or Michelle Obama or Bernie Sanders or Renee Ocasio-Cortez, whatever her name is, they're all going to try to make their bones down here. They're all going to try to come down here to try to make an impact. So if their side wins, then they're going to be able to use that, moving forward to try to take over the Democrat Party. I do think you still have a big divide in the Democrat Party between liberals and, not classical liberals, but just people that were more of the liberal mindset and the progressives that are within their party. And, and the progressives are, let's not even mince words here, they're socialists. So you have this fight going on within the party right now on the Dem side And I think that the progressives here are smelling blood in the water, but they also realize that if they come short, like if they don't win this and do all the things that they're thinking that they're telling the Democrats they're going to be able to do, then the moderates on the Dem side will smoke them out after the election's over with and basically get rid of them all because they're going to be like, well, you guys failed, and this is why we got more Republicans in office. On the Republican side, I think you have much more unity that's going on there than in the Democrat side, strangely enough, because I think that the establishment guys are, Adam Putnam's falling in line. Hey, I'm going with DeSantis. And I think you have the Rex, with the RPOF in charge. They got to, they have a plan that they're working. They're going to work an overall unity strategy, and I don't think you're going to get that unity strategy out of the Democrats. I think you're going to have Gillum running almost on his own, and he's going to leave the rest of the party hanging, and they're all going to they're not going to work together like the Republicans will. Strangely enough.
Very interesting analysis from Alex Snitker.